Welcome back, guys. Amar here for Magic Coding, and in this video we're gonna look with some operations that we can use for our variables. So let's delete everything we typed in and let's type something else. So for example, we can have our integer a to be, let's say, 7, and we can have integer b to be equals to 5, and then we can have an integer sum which will be needed to put in start. So integer sum, or we can type it outside of it. We can say integer sum, but we cannot say integer sum equals a plus b over here. So not a snits, but a plus b. This will not work. We have to do the calculations in the start function, because here we're only initializing our integer sum. And then we can say that our sum equals to a plus b. Now also, we could just add this over here. It will make no difference now because we will delete that later on. What's important to understand is when you put integer over here, that means you can use it in anything. So here I can say a equals to something else. But if I call it out only in the start like this, this is only a temporary value that will be only inside this function. So that's something that you should keep in mind. But because it really doesn't matter, we're going to put everything over here. So integer sum equals to a plus b. If you didn't know, programming language like C# or any other can do the math. So integer sum a plus b will get us a 12. I almost bugged out. We could say a minus b. We can say a divided by b, or we can say a multiplied by b. This scenario, we're going to say a plus b. Now, even if I start the game, so if I go to Unity, click start, you're going to see nothing is going to happen. Nope, nothing. And the problem is, first of all, I'm going to remove clear on play, and I'm going to remove collapse. Why is nothing is happening? Because we haven't added our tutorial script. We have to create an empty game object. So right click in hierarchy, and I'm going to call this C# tester, and I'm going to add my tutorial inside of it. So you can add it like this. You can add a component tutorial to tutorial, or you can just drag it onto this game object. So it really doesn't matter. To remove this, you can click on the gear button, or you can just right click on the script and remove component. It doesn't matter. You also can add this script in any of these objects over here, but that's not what we are going to do when the time comes to make games. If we create, for example, game manager, we're going to create a separate empty game object called game manager, and we're going to put our game manager inside. So right now, if I click play, nothing is going to happen. Yeah, we did calculate the sum, but we did not display it anywhere. And by the way, if you don't see the console, just go to window and search here general, and here you see console, or control plus shift plus C, or command plus shift plus C on the Mac. So how are we going to see it? In C#, like pure C#, you're going to use debug.log, and then, for example, see sum. But because we are in the Unity, we can use something that's called print, which is the actual same, just different syntax. So you're not saying debug.log, you're saying print, and we can print our sum. It really doesn't matter which one are you going to use. I'm going to use the print because throughout the course I'm using print, not debug.log, but debug.log is something in pure C#. So let me remove it, say print sum. If I go to Unity, we should see it's a plus b, which is 12. And if I double click on the console, on the comment, you're going to see it's going to pass me right onto this line over here. So we know that this print actually works. Also, what I can do is I can say multiply, which will get me 35. So if I click play, boom, 35. Also, we can do the division or negative. Now, one problem with division is if I click play, you're going to see here 1. But if I go to calculators, let me open my calculator, just a second, boom. And if I say 7 divided by 5, it's 1.4. Why it doesn't say 1.4? But because if you remember in our previous video, we talked about that our integer can only store a whole digit number, cannot store a decimal number. So yeah, that is why we will need to use a float. So if I change at least 1 to the float, let's see what's going to happen. So let me go back to Unity, click play. And you can see right now we have a problem. We cannot convert integer to a float. We at least have to have 2 floats, one for the sum and one of these has to be a float. So for this, for example, say integer a and integer b, which one is integer, other one is float. If I click play, we're gonna get 1.4. So you can see at the least one of these has to be a float, and it's even better if both of them are floats. Then we're gonna have 100% no problem. Same works if you're using a double. So same works if you're using a double. And when you're using a whole digit number, you don't have to add suffix f. It's gonna do that automatically. But if I say 0.3, I will have to use suffix f, because as you can see, I'm gonna have a screaming error on 27.3. What also I was going to talk about is, you can see right now, if I put here an integer and here an integer, it's going to work. Like float can't read integers, but it's not vice versa. If I say here integer and here I say float, and here even here I say float, I mean even one works, we're going to see that we cannot convert type float to the integer. A cool thing in programming or in game development is something that's called cast. So for example, if I want to keep my float as a float, but only in this sum, I want to keep it as an integer, what you're going to do is you're going to cast an integer on it. And how are we going to do that? Before the A, you're going to say open column, integer, and close it. And bam, you're going to copy this and paste it over here. So delete, paste, and let's say B. And voila, we have no errors. With this, you're casting that whatever this variable is, if it's float or it's a double, you're casting an integer on it, and it's gonna read as an integer, and we have no error. So I'm gonna do division right now. Let me go back, click play, and you're gonna see we're gonna get 2 as supposed to, because 7 minus 5 is 2. What else is what I want to talk about is you can also do the same exact thing for the string. So you can even do the string. So for example, if I say string name equals to Amar, or actually let's say first name, Amar, and let's say string last name equals to my name is, like, it's spelled Chelich, but we're gonna use it like this. So like this. And if I go ahead and say string, I'm gonna say some name equals to first name plus last name. This is gonna work, but what's gonna happen is I have to leave a space here or here, because if I don't do that, let's see first the bad example. As usual, let's see the bad example. But this is gonna happen Amar Chelich. So as you can see here, it's as one line. So we want to separate them by adding here, for example, a space, or here, it doesn't matter. And right now, if I click play, you're gonna see separated Amar Chelich, and you can see over here that even you can subtract the first, and you can add one name to another, which can be useful later on. What else is I want to talk about? You can add this. So for example, you can add this the strings and integers. For example, some name plus some can be, for example, Amar Chelich. So plus is old. So for example, Amar Chelich is old this many years. So like, for example, this many years. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying some name, so my first, Amar Chelich, and then here I'm saving the space, and I'm having space over here so we can divide them. And to add, you will just have to add the plus sign and just add the string, or add the string over here, doesn't matter how would you add it, and then add the sum. So let's say, for example, plus, and I'm 18 right now, so I'm gonna say here 11. So let's go back to Unity. And if I click play, come on, delete, clear out, click play, we're gonna see Amar Chelich is old this many years, which is 18. Like this sentence makes no sense, but this is what I want to show you. You can even add them both as well. Now I'm not sure this, I think, does not work, or maybe it does. Nope, it does not work. So you can just add them, you cannot divide them or multiply them, you can just add one on top of each other. So yeah, this is everything that I want to talk about about operations with our variables. So hope you like it, and I will see you in the next video.